All right, guys, out with the old and in with the new. We have Buckwheat's market structure VWAP updated. So you guys can remove it, add this one to your charts. Link will be in the description down below. All right, guys, so the philosophy behind this update is we removed the old, higher time frame VWAP block, which was really limiting our ability to really express where we wanted the anchored VWAP to actually be. Like the whole point of an anchored VWAP is so you could set it to a specific time or specific day. So before it was the start of month, start of year, and high of year. That's bullshit. So then we removed that and created the dynamic auto anchored VWAP. So this works for, news events or data or earnings, you name it. So we give you a limitless ability to go ahead and anchor this VWAP anywhere you want. So now let's get into the video, go over the settings, and then we're going to get to the dynamic VWAP. First things first, we're going to go ahead and open up the settings. You're going to see that there's a few more options and a few things that got removed. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the New York session, which is automatically anchored to New York. And we're also going to have the previous day New York open, which is pretty much a no-brainer. It anchors to the previous day's open, such as this. So the next day, this would be the new yellow dotted line. And then after that, we have the start of session VWAP, which is anchored to Asia session, which is at 6 o'clock. And then we also have an option here to go into the London session, which is at 3 a.m. So furthermore, we also have the high day and the low day VWAP. I have it anchored to the regular trading hours, New York, because that's the time we are trading, and that's more relevant than if we were doing extended trading hours, which would anchor to this highest point. And I guess, was this lower? Yeah, this was lower, so it would anchor here. What we're focused on is the current session. You can see that it's anchored over here at 9:48 a.m. around 29:110. So that's the low of day anchor. You can see that we kept pushing up against the downtrend. So that was telling us that trend was not going to continue downwards. And you can see right here, we actually have the high day VWAP, which is anchored to 11:44. You can see that it's crossing over, which is telling us, and with a lot of momentum, that trend will continue. Okay, now that we have those out of the way, we also have our dynamic auto anchor VWAP micro and macro. So now these are very interesting because this one, it gives you such a, the reason why I call it dynamic auto anchor VWAP is because you could set it to anything. So you'll see right here at 8:30 a.m. we had PPI data come out, and you have this dynamic auto anchor VWAP. So there's two ways to set it. You put a custom timestamp. So you click right here. You click any day. You can switch between the months, and you can select the time. You can set it there. So if I put 8:30 a.m. 5:13, you'll see that is anchored here at the PPI data when it came out. You can see we kept rejecting it, and then once we broke past it, momentum continued. Or you can anchor it to Asia session high. So the overnight session, you can put it over here, anchor it to that, which wasn't really relevant for the most part, like maybe one section, but it wasn't relevant enough to be something that's of importance. The PPI data was way more important. You can see how many times that we touched it. 1, 2, and then 3, and then we had a breakout. That was only relevant for the first few hours. Now, same thing, but the macro. Dynamic auto anchor VWAP macro. So if you click this, same thing. You can set the custom anchor time. You zoom out, you can see that I anchored it to April lows. Since I anchored it to April lows on April 7th, you can see that the moment we touched VWAP over here, we bounced immediately, and then we broke out of it and had momentum continue onwards. Another way, same thing, you can anchor this to any point. Anchor it over here. You can anchor it over here, but every anchor has to have a meaning. April lows, that was very meaningful. And you can see that we bounced off perfectly from that. And then last but not least, opening range. So the first 15 minutes, you'll see that we don't take any trades. We let the opening range set. So boom, market open. That was our high. And then after the first 15 minutes, you can see that this was our low before breaking down past it. And you can see that once we passed that opening range break over here, momentum continued, bounce off of it, momentum continued again. Yeah, that's pretty much the settings and updates. Like I said, this is not much of a difference from anything. Like, it depends on what you're looking at, because you're able to switch between these different VWAPs. Like if you have New York session open, you'll see, obviously, like we always want to have this on. It gives us so much information. You can see that we kept creating higher highs and higher lows. So we want to see momentum continue onward and onward. So we have the high day VWAP. Low of day VWAP wasn't really relevant. It got outpaced. Start of session VWAP was very important in the morning. You know, we were bouncing between the opening range and the Asia session VWAP before breaking out. Besides that, we had the previous day VWAP as well, which we bounced off perfectly at 9:48 and 9:49. So those three VWAPs are very important, including this, but only for the morning. You can always switch between these. You don't have to have all of them on, just the ones that are very, very relevant. So in this case, like we saw, it bounced off here, but after the session kept going on and on, you could turn it off. There's really no point until we get closer to that area. Then it would matter more. Same thing with the opening range. You don't have to have the opening range set like the whole day, just when it's relevant. And for the VWAP source, you want to keep it on open, high, low, and close. That pretty much does it for the video. There, like I said, there's not much that changed. There's not much difference. It's just what I added was the dynamic, auto anchored, and then the macro. Everything else is still the same. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys on the next one.